of this, the durability patch has been just kind of floating. And one of the things I'm noticing a lot, I think I'm getting to the point now where it's getting so old. Like I'm so tired of seeing this like rhetoric in League, and I want to publicly, I have a platform and I have the ability to just like throw out different opinions, and I want to throw out an opinion that I have, and this isn't an attack on Chase. I think he thinks that I'm like attacking him, and I guess I kind of am. But I like Chase, and I think he's a good Shaco player. And at the same time, like simultaneously, I think that over the years, League players, and I want to say it's mostly junglers that do this, but I don't think it's only junglers that do this. But I really am starting to get annoyed by the whole, like the one trick pony, like one roll pony archetype. I'm calling it an archetype because I don't have a better descriptor or a better grouping, but I am getting to the point now where I really think the community as a whole, like anybody that watches my videos, anybody that watches my content, I think you need to start asking yourself, what type of player are you with this game? And just ask yourself, are you an entitled baby? Are you a baby? Because I think while Chase is a great player, is a great Shaco player, I think he's a baby, and I think there's a lot of babies in League. And I mean it in the most like, it doesn't have to be a personal attack. I think in the way, I think he's a baby in the way of how League on the whole works, and I think a lot of players are guilty of this. People act like they are entitled to play one role and one champion, one play style of League forever.
It's not about being entitled, it's about finding something for you that works, that you enjoy in the game, and Riot just basically for no reason taking that away from you. Whether it's about an item, about a rune, about a certain playstyle, champion, role. It's not a form of entitlement, dude. It's the level of negligence and recklessness with this piece of shit company alienating their entire player base here and there, doing shitty changes that nobody fucking benefits from ultimately, because they all fucking dislike something they do, because they managed to ruin it for everyone.
In a utopian perfect world where every server has billions of players and and the queue times are just 30 seconds each, and everybody's just their own anime hero, I suppose that's a perfectly acceptable expectation. But it's getting to the point now where I think players...
Well, yeah, the whininess, the level of entitlement totally does exist, but a lot of times it's also valid. It's valid ranting, valid criticism, you know?
Big followings or players, like just players in general, one of the biggest things that has always bothered me, and I will always resent the League community for, all right, hear me out, because I love the League community for a lot of things, right? I'm obviously living a great life because of the League community. I love the game. I will still play the game, even though I don't have a lot of time to play it. I still play it. I still, like, I did that Masters climb recently. But I will always resent the League community because of the time when Riot had everybody playing each role and having a rank assigned to each role, and the community shit on Riot Games. I will always resent the League community for that, because I hate Riot had everybody playing each role and having a rank assigned to each role, and the community shit on Riot Games. I will always resent the League community for that.
It was a good idea, it was shittily implemented, not only because they once again with their typical pandering, they tried to, it was a good idea, but they fucked it up because they listened to bad feedback and they implemented it wrongly. That's why that shit didn't work. What is it, all those people saying that, oh, now I have to play League twice as much to get 2 different ranks. It's like, you don't have to get 2 different ranks. It's just you playing top lane autofill. It's not gonna fuck up your main roles MMR, your main, you know, the role we care about, that's good. And then people saying, well, the people that get autofilled are not gonna try because now it doesn't affect their game. I guess that's a fair point. But then it's just right, we would just have to just do more about people, trying and soften thing. I mean, that shit exists nonetheless, whether you have that kind of system or not. People do that shit all the time either way. For whatever reasons, whether they're tilted, whether they want to make someone lose, and whatnot. And the issue ultimately is that Riot doesn't do shit about that, and always punishes the wrong people for it. So, like, even without having that system, people do that. Having that system, would that lead to more of that? Maybe. But at least it would be better than people fucking the game up for everyone that's autofilled, right? I mean, another thing was that you were gonna play in that rank, right? Wait, how was that even gonna work? Never mind, how was that shit gonna work? If you were to get top lane, you would play in top lane bronze? Wait, that shit actually makes no sense if I think about it. If you queue up in fucking diamond as jungle and you get autofill top where you're bronze, you then play in bronze? What? Actually, that makes zero sense.
Because
maybe that shit was never going to work either way, I don't know.
I hate this idea. On one end, if you talk to any of my coaching clients, they always say about my team, my team, my team, my team. I gotta help my team. And it's like, if you just talk to the average league player, it's a team game, my team. But the minute that you give an average player the reality that, like, hey, there's a lot of champions and a lot of roles in the game, and you should have to learn them, everybody just freaks out. So why am I bringing this up? Chase posts a lot of nonsense about, like, ever since the durability patch came out. He is just one. This is just like an example. Like, it's easy to just flag shit Chase and be like, oh my God, Chase is a moron. That's not what I'm doing, because I don't think he's the only one that does this. But he's the one that's on my feed all the time. And the thing is, I've seen other guys. There's like a dude that like obsesses over Galio, and a dude that obsesses over Wukong, and a dude that obsesses over fucking Yorick. And it's so played out. Like, it's fine to be a one trick. It's fine to enjoy a champion or whatever. But I hate when people forget, like, the game has swings, right?
Wait, my clips are just not related to the video whatsoever. I said it was gonna, like, take parts where I might talk about stuff. It's just for the background.
I remember when Chase was complaining about Shaco, when Shaco was actually useless. There was a point where Shaco's, like, clone didn't slow you over and over again. There was a point where, like, Shaco was not even really that functional, and you could go, ah, that's fine. Like, I get why Shaco needs a buff, right? And it's like Shaco was sitting, I think he was sitting in, like, master or something. It was like low master, high diamond range. And this, again, this isn't even to flame him, because I don't think that he's, I think that he's,
I mean, yeah, dude, people were crying about Shaco being weak in season fucking 3, dude. People were crying in forums about Shaco rework in season fucking 3 when he was probably the strongest. I mean, not really. But at least he had proper numbers and shit, you know? At least you didn't have all this hard counter overloaded shit, so, like, the game overall was more playable. Shaco made more sense in that matter. But people were crying for a Shaco rework in season 3 because they thought he was too weak, right? And in season 4, season 5, I come up, do the AP Shaco thing. I would, like, and be in forums, talk about AP Shaco, and everybody would say, oh, it's garbage. Yeah, no, it's not playable. And I would make that shit popular, AP Shaco mid lane and shit, and make it to diamond, mostly through jungle, make it to master in the same season 4, and in season 5, rank 4 challenger, right? And then, like, suddenly in season 7, writers, like, randomly, yeah, let's rework him. Like, this is the kind of degeneracy this company is under, always. Back then, when everybody cried for Shaco rework, they didn't give a fuck. Then season 7, they're like, let's rework him. for whatever reason and just got all his numbers. Shaco has been practically worthless since Season 7 rework. Like, playstyle-wise, the champion has not been the same since then. Maybe he's had his moments with the fucking Gunblade shit in Season 7, the Titanic tank builds, or my Sunfire Triforce Tiamat build in Season 7. Season 8, I guess, I don't even know, didn't play that much Mutant. That's when Chase Shaco came up in Season 8. With the Duskblade Dark Harvest. Season 9, he was probably the weakest. Season 10 too, but like, I kind of found a way to make it work for myself. Most people were playing AP Shaco in general. It's like... I mean, dude, the problem is the scalings.
Blame him because, and this again,
Well, yeah,
this
the challenge
isn't
is
even to
garbage.
blame him because I don't think that I think that he's challenger material. In fact, I think he could beat challenger on other champions. Honestly, he seems good. Like I've watched him play. He's very clever. But like then the champion gets crazy buffs. Like it gets buffed, and then the damage, like we had this huge damage creep that happened. And I don't know if you guys remember or not, but Shaco went from like a bottom tier pick in like not represented in high elo at all to like a top tier pick. Like if you were one tricking Shaco in the past like year or so, you were rocking. Like you were, I mean, there was really no excuse. Like you would fly right up the ladder. It was very, very powerful. And if you were one trick that took up the year.
Wait, what season is he talking about?
Damage, like we had this huge damage creep that happened. And I don't know if you guys remember or not, but Shaco went from like a bottom tier pick in like not represented in high elo at all to like a top tier pick. Like if you were one tricking Shaco in the past like year or so, you were rocking.
Is
like,
he talking about this season?
I mean, there was really no excuse. Like you would fly right up the ladder. It was very, very powerful. And if you were one trick that had all those games on it, you got rewarded and you probably make challenger. Chase was sitting in challenger very happily. His result was like right in line with, oh wow, this champion is very, very strong. And it just seems funny to me that anytime that happens, it's like in my head, I'm thinking in the perfect world of, and we're using Shake as Chase Shaco is like the example here. In a perfect world, he would see that his champion was super powerful, right? He would get those, he would see that and he would go,
oh yes, my champion is strong. Oh, I'm gonna use it and I'm gonna get the highest elo I've ever gotten with it.
Right? And he would see the nerfs come through and he'd be,
Dude, Shaco has been so weak that in Season 10, I just gave up on power farming. I mean, jungle being shit is another thing, alright? But I just gave up on power farming, I gave up on being the raid boss carry playstyle, and just went like for a support, perma-roam kind of playstyle in Season 10. And that worked good enough to get me back to Challenger that season, right, for the third time. But like... I mean, yeah, Tank Shaco has been the norm since Season 7, because the scalings are garbage. I mean, early Season 7 after the rework, people, I guess, made like use of the Q having AP scaling, so they went hybrid Shaco with the Gunblade shit, which I didn't really play. Season 8, I guess, with the Dark Harvest rune being overtuned, and Chase Shaco making use of that with the broken Duskblade. I hated playing the Duskblade in Season 8, because it was just too broken. But that's the thing, like, when Shaco is good, since Season 7 rework, when Shaco is considered good in a meta, it's not because of the champion, it's because of the items he gets to buy. And you can build those same items on any other champion and have a lot more out of it. Because Shaco does not scale. That's ultimately the issue over here. Some overloaded broken item carrying Shaco doesn't mean that the champion is good, because he gets to make a really good use of a Duskblade. It's the item, not the champion in that case. But yeah, Shaco has not been a proper champion since Season 7. It's that simple.
be like,
Oh, it was a fun run. You know, it was a fun run. I made Challenger with this playstyle. You know, now I'm doing some weird like chem tank shit. It's all good, man. Like, I'll just do what I can and maybe try some other stuff in the meantime or whatever.
but it seems like any time that these guys have like a moment of power and it gets taken away, they were never happy with what they had. It's always a damn, it's always a dramatic performance.
I don't think people understand how painful it is to make Shaco work. People don't get that. It's like when you talk about, well, Shaco win rate is good, well, you know, there's a challenger Shaco player and this and that, and Shaco's playable. It's like, yeah, but do you understand the effort and energy you have to put into fucking making the champion work? Whereas if you play some brained tank or whatever overloaded champion, with half the effort, you have more impact. So like, once again, the whole like player skill, player game knowledge and their champion and all that shit is not very balanced. If a fucking first timer Belvet being behind, playing like a dumbass, can easily 1v1 me, it's not balanced. Regardless of whether you think Shaco is a strong champion or not.
Right? Because like, think about it. How many times have you seen me on videos going on and on about how Tryndamere is like super weak now?
Oh God, what am I gonna do? Riot needs to undo these durability changes. Jesus, how am I ever gonna get any? Have you watched the pro scene? The pros can't kill anybody. You see
Was it? I guess he was complaining about the durability changes being bad. Because again, he's just coming from, like, no offense, but Chase just a lot of times comes from a very strong place of selfishness and egotistical. That's just his point of view on the game. With a lot of players. Same issue, right? They're all just thinking about their own champion, their own role, and not really what's good for the game. So like, the durability change, for the most part, were a good thing for the game, even though the game would have needed something else more than that. But like, it's start. It's in the right direction, right? But like, saying that, oh, the durability changed the worst thing that happened to the game because your champion is weak is ridiculous. The real issue is him having no numbers. Buff the fucking scalings. That's exactly what the champion needs.
what I'm saying? What about the damage? These noobs never get punished for bad positioning. Oh my God.
And it's like a constant freak out always with these fucking guys. Why can't it just be like, hey, you had your time, wait like 3 to 6.
Chase complains about everything he finds annoying while playing Shaco. That is ironic as fuck.
And your champion's probably going to be strong again. You know why? Because those damage champions are really popular. And Riot just wants an excuse for people to come back into the hamster wheel. Hate to break it to you, but Shaco was fucking broken. Shaco was real broken.
That's bullshit.
And it's so weird because Shaco was like, he was weak sauce like it was like 3 or 4 years ago. I remember meeting Chase at TwitchCon. And I was talking to Chase at TwitchCon. And I remember thinking to myself, God, Shaco was a bad champ at that time. And he was playing other stuff and it was all good. He was crying about Shaco. He was justified. He says Shaco is super strong. Now Shaco's weak again. And he's immediately like, we got to buff Shaco. We got to bring the damage back.
I mean, like, that's ultimately what everyone does, and it works. If it works, if all that whining works, of course people are gonna do it. If you can't beat the game, join it. And that's the kind of, the whiniest people is what Riot often ends up listening to. So like, I mean, look, he whined so much about Shaco, they buffed it for him, dude. Almost like. And even said like he talked to Riot Flux before the Shaco buffs. So like, taking full credit that they're doing the Shaco buffs, which is good. Again, like the clone fix that he also took credit for was definitely made the champ a lot more playable. The clone replacement, the scaling numbers is what I talk about for years, man. They don't give a fuck. Oh my god, this component. But yeah, that's what Shaco needed. But again, like, that just goes to show the whininess works, because this company is all about pandering to the whiniest players.
So,
it's just so it is.
I think, and the reason I bring this up is because it's just a fascinating thing, and I wanted to get your guys' opinions about it. You know, what do you guys think? Do you think that everybody, am I crazy? Like, it feels like everybody should know kind of how to play other roles or should be incentivized to try other roles. It's about getting perspective. If I did nothing, right? If I never played a climb, imagine how shit of a coach I'd be. Imagine how bad of a coach I'd be if I didn't do a bunch of like 100 games to diamonds with like different champs, or if I didn't do like other roles and play the other roles. Like the perspective you get, and it's also like it protects you from having this this bias where you just can't do other things. You guys that have done my boot camps, for example, what did we do the first boot camp? Mundo clear. What did we do the next boot camp? Fiddle clear. Radically different champions. Radically different champions. My climbs have been different champions, right? I've done a Cassidon climb, a Twisted Fate climb. These are high elos, right? A Gangplank climb, a Tryndamere climb, and now a Nocturne climb. Like, I've done all these different styles. Now the Nocturne jungle climb. And like, I admit the champions are a little simpler than other.
That's BS. If my favorite flavor of ice cream is chocolate, should I eat other flavors just so I can appreciate chocolate more? Actually, yes. I mean, it doesn't need to be, but like, it's a matter of open-mindedness and experience. So like, yeah, you might even find a better flavor you like, or you might actually end up appreciating chocolate more, for sure.
Other champions, with the exception of probably.
I mean, look at how close-minded laners are towards their junglers all the time. Always scapegoat the jungler, or the jungler cannot do anything right. It's always jungle fault when they lose their lane. And then some laners end up playing jungle for one game and they're like, worst role ever. Never want to play it again. They even feel bad for all the flame they did towards junglers because they realize how obnoxious the role is. Almost like a second-class role. People are just close-minded, and like the best way to shift perspective is if you go to the other side, if you really want to know.
Probably Gangplank, I guess. But like, I've done different stuff, right? And then I've obviously done the different role climbs with like ADC and all the one-trick pony stuff to diamond with like Bard, like all these different play styles. I don't want to see what, in my opinion, is a healthy patch.
I like pussy. Should I try 50-centimeter dick in my ass to appreciate pussy more, dude? What? I mean, it doesn't always apply, that kind of logic, but in many cases, like the ice cream example, totally applies.
I don't want to seem like a
like, it doesn't hurt you to test other flavors to see if you might like some other one, or making you know, end up liking chocolate even more. That totally makes sense. So yeah, even as a one-trick pony, you should play other champions, other roles, to know what it really looks like. It's like, if I'm like, oh, Zed is so broken because I got clean comboed by a Zed, right? Given that they're actually balanced and fat. And then I play Zed and it's like, wait, this is actually hard to pull off. Suddenly you have more respect for the players that actually one-shot you like that with a clean combo, because if the combo is not that easy to replicate, to land, right? But I mean, the game isn't like that whatsoever, right? Nowadays the champions are so overloaded, so unbalanced. A lot of it just doesn't add up. Like, I don't need to play Bel'Veth to know how broken she is. I don't need to play Volibear to know that that champion is fucking bullshit. So it goes both ways.
Content creator that just sits here and just reads the shit day in and day out. That's what it is. That's what it's about. I don't want to be seen as a content creator that reads this very like narrow, pinpoint, targeted, balanced bitching. That's what it is. It's narrow and it's targeted and it's totally, it's like I want there to be more damage.
I've watched pro play recently, and I want it to be more damage in the game. Because these pros, man, it's so boring to watch.
While simultaneously, every time you log into League of Legends, you're playing Shaco and you want to build full damage. Like, how could you, in honest, like, how could you honestly look at that scenario and say to yourself, like, to look yourself in the mirror and be like,
I don't have a lean, right? Like, I don't have a position that I... You're just pretending that the one thing that you're complaining about isn't actually a campaign for the other.
I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way. And I always want to be seen as a guy who at least spoke out a little bit when I felt that people are just being irrational. Because I definitely look around like the champions right now, and this is a nice shift. It's different. There's a lot of shit represented here in any role. It's just a different mix of champions. And that's what it's about. I hate to break it to you, but I'm going to say the same thing I've said in previous videos. I mean, look, there's my Twisted Fate. Champion sucks dick. I'm not out here saying, oh my God, buff things that make Twisted Fate better. Dude, whatever. I mean, whatever. Fine. You just play some other shit. Why is it that players think that they should be allowed to play think about it, one play style or one champion, one role, one play style for years? For years. I think that what I'm trying to...
I mean, I definitely used to play as a champions way more in all the seasons. Most of the ones that got reworked, I enjoyed them a lot more when they were more simple. The simpler, the less broken they are, the more fun they are. Nowadays, all the champions are too overloaded, too over the top. I just have no feel like playing them, and a lot of times I don't even need to play to know that they're broken.
To say is that I encourage you guys to never, or I guess I'll end with this. Don't get it confused. When I'm telling you that, yes, you should master a champion. Yes, you should master an identity. Yes, you should master a playstyle. But holy shit, it wouldn't hurt you to, like, once you master that playstyle, to maybe consider that possibly you might not have a complete idea of how the fucking game works. And you might, just saying, might have a bias, might have a perspective that is a little bit tainted by the fact that you've spent the majority of your time operating within one little worldview of how League works, right? And that's just like common sense. And so that's why I'm saying that I will never forgive the League community for killing the roles and the ranks thing, because they're just so entitled. And
dude, all this is just a result of Riot being way too aggressive with how they fucking selectively make champions or roles strong or weak. They go so over the top with it that it creates all this bias, not only because Riot themselves are biased all the time, right? When you start like just selectively saying that, okay, this patch, this champion is gonna be really strong, next patch they're gonna be fucking worthless. It's like, dude, like we all play this game because it's like compared to all the other games we played, League is like one of the few non-pay-to-win games, right? That's like the main thing as a competitive player that you look for, and non-pay-to-win. But it's like now all these years you realize, okay, it's not pay-to-win, but it's a hope to win. It's like a fucking, I hope they don't got my champion this patch. I hope the next change they do isn't gonna completely fucking render my newly developed playstyle useless, or the new item build, or whatever shit they do. They can't just like that within one day to another just make your playstyle useless, make your champion useless, make your item build useless. That's ridiculous. I mean, I would rather play a pay-to-win game where the game always stays what it is, right? And always know what's strong and what's weak and how to play around it, than having to like every day hope that it's not gonna hit my fucking champion this time. And then, oh, bad luck, they nerf my champion. Now I gotta cry till they buff it. I mean, that's what you create when you're so aggressive with fucking, and so selective and biased with balancing the game. You cannot even call that balancing, it's just selective bullshit. And so aggressive with the changes. It's no wonder that the majority of the player base is so whiny and acts like that and so selfish about just buffing their champion. Because everybody is on the edge about having their champions being fucking out of meta, being worthless next patch. And like as a player, you like, what do you do about that when they got your champion? You just gotta quit your champion or don't play the game. That's ridiculous. Again, there's entitlement, but a lot of it is also justified criticism when they just, a lot of times for no reason, fuck over your entire playstyle because they didn't like it or whatever. Or decide to nerf your champion when you already struggled. It's bullshit.
We'll never forgive the league community for killing the roles and the ranks thing. Because they're just...
If people want to have less whining in the game, less biased criticism, less biased feedback about just buffing their champion. Again, like, what this game needs is game devs that stay the fuck back. It would be better on everyone's mental and attitudes. It would be better for the game overall. Just don't be so aggressive with the balance, with the patches. Like back then, they would really take their time to nerf champions. Or buffing them, same shit, they would take their time. Nowadays, like every week, some champions get hit. It's stupid.
Just so entitled. And I don't know. I guess I just wanted to say my piece about this. And again, if it sounds like I'm just blasting Shaco, I guess, or blasting Chase, I'm blasting Chase with his league logic. I don't think he's bad as Shaco. I don't think he's a bad player. I don't think he's dumb. I just think that it's like a person that is, I think it's just a fundamental difference of opinion. It's like, how can we have that opinion, or how could you have that opinion while simultaneously not acknowledging that, like, you kind of want it to be your way because it's the only thing you've known and the only thing that you've really specialized.
It's not about being the only thing they know. It's just the only thing that really works, because that's just how Riot operates. Like, all of this whining, all of the selfishness and bias in this game comes down to Riot being too neglectful and fucking aggressive with the game, dude. Just not having zero respect for the integrity of their own game. I can't even talk. Like, they don't give a fuck about truly what's good for the game. They just selectively buff, nerf champions, get rid of entire playstyles, got certain items and runes and whatever, and everyone is on edge. And if it hits your champion, you're basically fucked. It's stupid. If you want to have less whining, be less aggressive with changing the game constantly in the patches. It's that simple. Make patches more rare, not like, dude, Season 8 was when shit was completely fucked. They decided to do a fucking small patch, which wasn't even a small patch. They decided to fucking shit out a patch every week in Season 8. People lost their mind over that. Do less patches. Make them less impactful. But of course they won't do that because that would make them more money.
This is the risk, I guess, of content creators that build their entire brand around like one champion. So I wish anybody that would approach these arguments would approach them with a more like an honest, like, hey, my livelihood is on the line here. I want more damage. I want more damage. I don't care what you get. I wish you would just say that, right? I guess maybe that's what it is. Maybe stop pissing on me and telling me that it's rain, right? That's the thing. It's like, just say it. Say it. Hey, I make money when I play Shaco, and I want Shaco to be broken so that everybody else can be annoyed with Shaco, and that I can play Shaco and not have to reinvent myself at all. At all. I would rather not. I wish they would just say that. I hate this. I hate the fake. I hate the fakery. Anyways, end rant. That's a niche rant for the day. I want to know what you guys' thoughts. Do you think that players should be expected to play other roles and champions? And at what frequency? Right? What frequency? Because in my opinion, I think the beauty of the game is that you may not have your play style. It may just not exist. We had Mundo clears. I use Mundo as an example. We had an old Mundo play style that I built. That was cool. That I played in high elo. And it was working. And it's not there anymore. And I feel like that's okay. I was annoyed. I was annoyed, but like, that's okay. I didn't expect to be able to do that forever. I feel like we've been playing League long enough. And I think that's where my frustrations come from, is that like, I remember playing Nidalee mid. The first time I got pretty good at the game, and that just disappeared. And then they released Zoe later. And that's okay. I didn't agree with it, but like, we know that can happen. And I think I just get annoyed because people get spoiled and then they're ungrateful about it. They're ungrateful. It's like they forget. It's like, did you forget that you just made Challenger with this broken shit that you were playing? And they're like,
No, I should be able to make Challenger every year. Every year, I should make Challenger with the same thing, and I should never change. I want to play Twisted Fate 12 years in a row. Only Twisted Fate. I want to play Tryndamere. Only Tryndamere.
It's like, but like, sure, you can mock that, but it's like, oh, wanting to be challenged every season with this, doing the same shit, playing the same champion. Sure, but I mean, isn't that the point of the game? Isn't that why we all play this game? Because we want to prove our skills, and like, if you don't make it to challenge you playing the same champion, maybe you got worse at the game. Or, given how aggressive Riot is with the changes, maybe they did stuff that's completely to your disadvantage. Maybe worse yet, they directly ruined your champion and playstyle. Which is, again, makes a lot of the whining justified and understandable. It's like, if I from one season to another don't make it to Challenger because they decided to gut my champion, that's fucking unfair, dude. It's not like I magically lost my skill, that I went from being fucking Challenger to being Diamond next season. No, they're just being manipulative about their game. That's what it is.
I want to play Twisted Fate 12 years in a row. Only.
Like, if you go play any fucking sports, right? It's always the same game. You always improve. You always prove yourself. The ball doesn't suddenly turn into a square the next day and you have to reinvent yourself and learn how to play that.
Twisted Fate. I want to play Tryndamere. Only Tryndamere.
anyways, don't rag on Chase too hard. Like I said, because I really do. I think he's a really good.
Imagine balance changes in chess. I mean, the balance changes would be the least concern. But yeah, like, that's the point, right? Worse yet, imagine they just introduce a new character. Or just reinvent yourself, my
player. I just think it's annoying
just adapt.
reading people
Just
bitching
adapt.
with one viewpoint only. It gets so tiring. Anyways, you guys leave the thoughts and comments in YouTube video. It's an interesting discussion point, I think. And I
Wait,
think it's
where's
one
that
we have
article
we
that I
have to
was
talk
gonna
about because
read? Did I close that?
with the durability patch being out, it's a fundamental crossroads about how League should feel. And I think on the whole, the game looks a lot more presentable to lower elo. I think it looks a lot more presentable to 99% of the player base. And I think it's only frustrating to people that are very, very, like I said, that are oftentimes very, very close-minded and forget what it's like to play this game in the beginning. Like like nothing makes sense, and the game looks a little bit more sensible at the moment. You can kind of make out what's happening. You don't want players coming into the game and like.
This is what it ultimately comes down to with a competitive game like League that focuses on esports. It's like, dude, if you're gonna call yourself a sport, then stay true to the values of what makes a sport, right? Are you trying to be an actual digital equivalent to traditional sports? I mean, it's called esport, right? Live up to the name. Like, it's abbreviated from sports. What is sports? What other sports game out there constantly changes their rule? And that's like the main thing that it comes down to. It's not even about balance or about some ridiculous changes. Those changes means different rules, right? That's what it ultimately is. It means that you have to play the game differently. It means that the rules of the game have changed. What traditional sport constantly change their rules or ever. And they've existed throughout, what, hundreds, thousands of years like chess? So like if you truly want the esport worthy game, and no game probably does this right, other than maybe CSGO, if you truly want a real esport type game, because like the shit a lot of the games are doing, they try to like get big on esports, is not really what it should be in my opinion, right? If you constantly change the rules, if you want to be an actual esport game, a real competitive skill-based game, the first thing you gotta do, consistency. Make up your mind about what the rules inherently are in the game and stay true to them. Be consistent about it. Don't constantly change it for the sake of change because you think that the game becomes too stagnant if you don't change them constantly. So you just forcefully change the game constantly to appeal to a new player base. It's dumb. It's dumb in so many ways, but even more so like you're constantly shifting the rules, dude. And like this is what it ultimately comes down to, because a lot of League players have this kind of understanding about League. They're like, oh yeah, of course, League, of course it's gonna constantly change. Because like that's what the game has been all the time. They're like, well yeah, that's League, it's constantly changing. They're constantly adding new characters, nerfing shit, reworking stuff, changing the whole map. Just completely fucking shaping the whole shaking the whole table, fucking resyncing their entire game, rewriting all the rules, and you can do that, but it's like, is that really what League is supposed to be? That's what these people think. They think that, yeah, that's League. And you have to, as a player, always adapt and change with it. Sure, but in my opinion, League is supposed to be a game like traditional sport that just sticks to its rules and doesn't constantly change them. With a couple like minor balance fixes maybe. But other than that, like the game is, in my opinion, supposed to be what it is. And not constantly try to reinvent itself. But that's the philosophy that Riot lives and dies by. And that's what a lot of people sign up to. They're like, yeah, that's League. You just gotta adapt, that's just League. In my opinion, that's not what League is supposed to be, if you ask me. For many reasons, in my opinion, that's a dumb way to go about it. That ultimately kills the game. Because it constantly ends up alienating a bunch of players. And a lot of that whining, a lot of that ranting from players, a lot of it is justified for that reason.
You know, I don't want to revert back to what was happening previously, at least not anytime soon. At least I want to play it out for a little bit longer. And I think those play styles, I think the difference in play styles need to be explored, and different champions should have their...
Like they do entire massive patches for tournaments, for MSI, for Worlds patch, or the Worlds patch. What the fuck? That's why fucking Overwatch went downhill too. Because they also just entirely they're like, oh yeah, esport. We have to balance the game for esport games in it. It's like, let the game be, let the players play the fucking game, and don't fucking be like 1 month before Worlds starts, let's do a massive Worlds patch. What even is that? The Worlds patch. It's like nobody benefits from that, right? It's like, okay, they do these changes specifically for esports, as they call it, the Worlds patch, the MSI patch. They literally do those changes, those balance, whatever changes, those patches, they do it specifically for those tournament games. But even the players don't like that. Like even back then in all the seasons, people like Reginald would cry about, you know, pro players spend an entire year practicing the game, and in 1 month or like 1 week even, whatever, short time before the tournament, they fucking change everything. And the pro players have to fucking reinvent themselves, readapt within a month. And all that practice they did all the time is basically wasted, almost. What the fuck? Like, nobody benefits from that. It's so dumb, dude. They reshaped the game to make it more esports worthy for the world's tournaments. That should have just brain out to me. And anybody who signs up to that and thinks that that's normal and that's what the game is supposed to be, sorry, but like, you're a dumbass. That's not what League is supposed to be whatsoever, dude.
Need to be explored and different champions